Corsair, we make a variety of products that you can see displayed here. We have 4 core products that we launched with and that we always try to have in stock, and we make sure that when we go into a new market, we release these. One of the best-selling products we have is our vanilla bean vodka. This is made with 100% whole bean, organic Madagascar vanilla beans. The only thing that's going into that is vanilla beans and vodka, so you get a very dry, authentic vanilla note. It almost borders on a tobacco note. Really designed to be mixed. The most versatile of all of our drinks. If you want something simple, you can just splash it into a Coke for an adult Coke, or if you want to do something a little more complex and do a chocolate martini, this is a great base for that. Our spiced rum is our next spirit. The spiced rum is very much a full-bodied rum. You're not going to get a lot of the sweet syrupy notes that a lot of other rums try to give you. The barrel, this is a barrel-aged product, the barrel plays a prominent role in the flavor profile. You're also going to get your traditional spices like nutmeg, clove, cinnamon, and vanilla. We find that whiskey drinkers tend to really appreciate this because it isn't that syrupy note that they're used to with some of the bigger name brands, but instead it does have more of a dry flavor to it. The gin overall is our best-selling product. It's also the one that's won the most awards. The gin, before we'd even released it to the mainstream market, had picked up a gold medal at one of the most prestigious spirits tasting competitions in the world, the San Francisco World Spirit Competition. Our gin is designed to bring a wider flavor profile to your palate. A lot of gins are very heavy on the juniper and don't give you much else. With our gin, you're going to find that it moves from the sharp juniper note into a refreshing citrus note and then ends with a very full herbal quality on your palate. Absinthe is probably one of our most unusual spirits. A lot of people aren't even used to it. I'm constantly asked whether or not that's even legal. The answer is yes. It was banned until 2006, but they recently lifted that ban. Absinthe is made with wormwood, which is where it gets its name from the scientific name for wormwood. It also has a chemical compound in it called thujone, which can cause hallucinations and why it was banned. But if you do your math and you look at your science behind it, it's in such small quantities that you would have had other problems well before you get to that point. Absinthe is made with a lot of anise and fennel, and so it carries a distinct black licorice note to it. It's very oily, tends to coat your mouth, definitely a drink that you want to sip. The first whiskey that we released was actually an unaged whiskey. We called it Rye Moon. The early batches were made with 100% malted rye, but we've moved to a very small barley percentage. We find it balances things out a little bit better and gives us a better product at the end of the day. I tend to describe this as either what a moonshine should taste like or what a rye whiskey tastes like before it goes into the barrel. Also in the unaged whiskey department, our fall seasonal release for the last 2 years has been our pumpkin spice moonshine. This is first and foremost an unaged whiskey, so you're going to get a lot of those grain notes that you would get with the rye moon. But then the pumpkin and the spice serve as subtle secondary notes. In many ways, it's like a pumpkin spice beer. You would expect the beer to be the prominent flavor with the spices adding the secondary notes, and the same thing is true with that as well. In terms of widespread distribution and popularity, Triple Smoke in the aged whiskey department is really taking that role for us. This is an American single malt, so it's going to be in the same family as a Scotch. So it's going to have a very distinct smoky note to it. And whereas a lot of Scotches are going to have almost a medicinal brine flavor to it, our American single malt carries with it more of a woody smoke. More of a campfire smoke, if you will. It's made with 3 different woods that are used to malt the barley. We've got a beech wood, a cherry wood, and then the traditional peat smoke. I'm also in the aged whiskey category and going a little bit more interesting. We just released on a very limited basis our Rasputin. Rasputin is a whiskey that's made from a Russian Imperial Stout beer recipe, but during the distillation process, we pass the vapors through hops. So you get a very distinct hops note that comes along with the sweetness that comes from the barley, as well as the other ingredients and also the barrel notes. Also in the aged whiskey category, this is a product that we've only released on a limited basis, but has been very, very well received. You could call this the older brother of the Rye Moon. In this case, we have stuck with the 100% malted rye recipe. This is going to be the most traditional of all the whiskeys, but at the same time, there are very, very few whiskey companies who release 100% rye. Rye is generally used as a flavoring grain, but we liked what it did, and so we went ahead and made the whole product with that. And then finally, also in the experimental category, but a little bit different, is going to be our barrel-aged gin. What we've done is we've taken our traditional gin, upped the juniper content a bit, taken a few of the other spices and adjusted them, and then aged them in our spiced rum barrels. And so what you get with a barrel-aged gin is basically a cold weather sipping gin. The juniper is going to be very dominant, but you're also going to get a lot of the warmer notes that you would normally associate with other drinks, such as the cloves and the cinnamon. And so it's a very, very unique drink, but one that goes great in the winter.